these 5 problems and how people use dating apps. So what can you do? I've got 5 things here, but I think the first thing I'd say is, like, don't rely on dating apps as the only way you meet people. Man or woman, you should not be relying on dating apps the only way you meet people. I actually recommend, especially men, because when you consider that, what's the number? I think at points in different countries, it differs, right? That Tinder can be like 90% men, 10% women. And I think but nearly all dating apps, and what I've seen in the research, there's more men on there than women. It can go up to like 60-40, but it's always more men. What does this tell me? 60-40 is not too bad, to be honest. But like, what I would say is ditch the apps and start meeting people in person, right? I'm such a fan of this. I'm such an advocate of this, right? Go meet people in person, because there's loads of them around. You know, whether that's when you're going about your normal life in the shopping centre, whether that is when you are getting a coffee, or whether it's like you're going to community, stuff like that. Start meeting people in real life. Start meeting people through friends of friends, right? And I think one of the big problems I think that our online lives have created is that people lack in life friendship, right? And I think it's exacerbated by the modern nature of life, where we're working from home, we're online a lot, you know, we listen to podcasts, you know, I'm not in an office with other human beings, I'm at home on my own, right? So I have to make a lot of effort to maintain friendships, right? Because they're not just in front of me like work friendships would be. So you need to make a lot of effort to go outside, and like talk to real human beings, get to know people irrespective of gender. That's an important one, irrespective of gender, right? Go outside more and meet more people, and this dating app problem will diminish for you, right? Meeting through friends of friends, and also try and make friends with people of the other gender. Like, this is something that annoys me so much. The divide between men and women just feels incredibly like huge more and more these days. It's like making friends with people of the other gender, not even to date them, but just to have friends, will lead you to having a more grounded understanding of people of the other gender, right? The opposite gender, right? And that will allow you to meet people through those friends, but also to just have a perspective that would mean you're less judgmental to start with. To meet more people in person. And I know I'm saying it like it's easy, because it actually is easy. We complicate in our heads by going, okay, I want to meet more new people. Well, I can't do that because I'm too anxious to speak to people. I don't have anything to say. No, that's not true. Right? You can do it. Go talk to a stranger. You know, this is why inside my program, this is why inside Men's Dating Accelerator, like I talked about before, a big part of it is showing you how you can meet new people. And when people work with me one-to-one, I'm always like, okay, what communities can you go and get involved in? What hobbies did you used to do that you used to love that you don't do anymore? Go do them. And if people are like, I don't have time, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing with your time then? You know, what are you doing with all the time? Like, oh, you're working. You're not working all the time. You know, work, gym. Okay, cool. Go and cut down on something. Stretch yourself a little bit somewhere, because this is potentially the joy in your life. People who have good relationships, friendships, romantic relationships, live happier, healthier lives. So you sitting playing PlayStation all day is not really helping your happiness. Yeah, you sitting watching YouTube videos all day isn't helping your happiness, right? You bitching with your friends about whatever you bitch about with your friends isn't helping your happiness. But going and meeting new people and making new friendships and creating new communities will. It's why I created the Authentic Man community, so men could come together and bond and create friendship, and not, you know, this is not a pity party inside. This is a challenge party more than anything. Like, I'm pushing men to be better, to grow. You know, that's why 2 of the guys in the community have found relationships in the 6 months, because we've pushed them to do things. They've looked at themselves, reflected. So number 1, that wasn't even number 1. That's one I just kind of came up for meeting new people. Number 1, and what you can do to counteract these issues, right? The first one is about filters. Remove them. Just remove them. You know, remove height, remove body type, remove hair color, all this. Just remove all of them, right? Like age, widen the age, widen your radius of distance as well. Like, because the truth is, if you met someone who's right and they live 10 miles further than you'd want them to, you'd make it work. You know, you really would. Or they had blonde hair instead of brown hair. right? You know, thank God most dating apps got rid of race. Race was there for years. People were using race as a way to kind of filter. And I always tell this story about Orsa, my partner, my friend, one of her friends. She started a dating app, started talking to someone, went on a date with someone, then realized when she met him, he was really short. And initially she was a bit like, oh, what happened here? Had a really good date. They laughed a lot. They had fun. Then she realized that on her dating app, she hadn't set the height filter. She'd forgotten to set it. They're married and they got kids. So if she'd set the height filter, she would never met that guy. Yeah? She'd never met him. But because she felt him in person, she was like, oh, actually, I really enjoy this person. He's funny, he's quirky, he's interesting. Great. Boom. Do the same with body type, right? Be more flexible, be more open. Second, challenge your assumptions. Challenge the stereotypes and kind of assumptions and preconceptions you have about potential partners and how they need to be. You know, what sort of life experiences they have to have, what sort of way they have to move in society, like what sort of hobbies they have to have. Let me give you an example, right, from my own life. When I was dating, when I met Orsa, one of my criteria that I was quite conscious of in my mind is I wanted a woman who had traveled independently, right, had traveled herself independently. And when I met Orsa, and I also used to have another one that was around degree education. I didn't date women who didn't have a degree. And then when I met Orsa, we met each other, we got to know each other, and I realized that she hadn't really traveled on her own. You know, she'd been in a corporate job. And she hadn't. She'd never like gone on a solo trip. She never backpacked anywhere. And initially this kind of concerned me. I was like, oh, you know, I like traveling and I don't want to like have to like look after someone again because there's something I felt in past relationships. And then the more I got to know her, the more I realized I was like, oh, actually, what I'm really looking for someone who is independent and will be fearless and brave when it comes to like traveling and doing things and won't need me to like organize everything and then be clingy and so forth. I was coming from a wound of my past experiences, right? And as we got to know each other, it became unimportant. And then for the degree, she didn't have a degree. Also doesn't have a degree, she never went to university. And then I realized what I wanted was someone who I could have interesting and stimulated conversation with. And I assumed that a degree meant that, but it doesn't, right? And this is the thing, so many of these things we hold on to are not really based in reality. They're based on some sort of mental idea that we've chosen, right? Good, you got that one. That one's really clear. Number 3, how you can counteract these dating issues. Find reasons to say yes. Find more reasons to say yes. We are not pessimistic, but we're like I said, the more this digital world has come, it's like we almost like uncomfortable leaving our houses too often. So we look for reason to say no, right? We are looking at people's profiles and going, what do I not like? Right? What am I looking for I don't like? And we find it because there's always something there. Oh, the background of his picture is really bad. That means he's not considerate. Done. Right? Or whatever it may be. Look for more reasons to say yes. Simple as that. Like, that's one of the reasons why messaging loads after you match with somebody for weeks on end, months on end, isn't a good idea. I know a lot of women said to me, like, oh, I do this because I want to see that I'm safe. And it's like, okay, but what are you looking for to know that you're safe? And often they're like, oh, you know, he can hold a conversation. He doesn't say anything weird or odd. And you say, you know, if you met him in a coffee shop or a bar, after 3 or 4 days of messaging, you'd know that straight away. And yeah, you wouldn't have to, you know, have to do your house, but there's probably also men you've said no to because you've messaged a lot and you've just found something you didn't like, right? Or guys do this thing I've seen before where like they match with someone and they see their profile picture on WhatsApp and then suddenly they're freaked out and they don't go on dates with them, right? And I guess inside this, more reason to say yes is, you know, this is kind of ghosting thing that happens where people match with each other, they swap numbers, they start chatting and then they arrange a date and then they bail. Like, this thing is, I think it's probably something that really frustrates and angers me. And I know that some guys, it is that, I've kind of asked guys about this, a few of them, is like suddenly they're like, oh, I don't know if I'm attracted to someone. I don't know if it's going to, you know, a use of my time. And they don't say that. But it's like, have some courage, to like say no, but also courage to just go on the date. You know, even if you don't think you're good enough, even if you think she's too good for you, just remember she matched with you. She wanted to spend time with you, right? It's really important just to follow through, because you become a man who follows through, and then you build confidence. You feel more aligned with who you are. Number 4, almost got my numbers wrong. You have to realize that you got to give grace to other people. You know, everyone has flaws. Everyone's got a red flag. Everyone's got a minimum of 1 red flag, right? And remember, red flags are very subjective. Everybody's got a red flag, right, to some level. And sometimes it takes people a little bit of time to warm up and get interesting and come out of their shell, right? Just give a bit of grace and room to do that, right? We can't kind of treat dating in this way that it's like it needs to be really efficient. Like, dating is not efficient. Love is not efficient. Relationships are not efficient entities. You know, having children is not efficient. So don't expect love to be efficient like your job, you know, or like your gym workout. That's just not how it is. Number 5, dating is a journey, not a formula. Yeah. I have been on over 100 first dates. And what I learned was most people are really uncomfortable on dates, especially the first date. They don't relax, especially if you don't drink. And for a good proportion of the late end of those datings, I didn't really drink. You kind of have to learn how to date. Dating is an art. There's an art to it. There's a way in which you communicate. There's a way you set up dates, the way you're playful, the way you express yourself. There's a way you come across authentically and openly and listen. These are all skills you can learn, a lot of those skills you can learn through the Men's Dating Accelerator course that I talked about earlier. But it is a skill set of learning. So remember that it's worth spending some time to learn those things, and not assuming that you should just know how to date just because you're a human being. No. You know, if we were all innocent like kids, we'd date really well, because we'd be fun, we'd be honest, we'd be open, we wouldn't take too much rejection. But we've got layers of wounding, pain and judgment and trauma that's layered on. That means we're afraid, we're nervous, we don't show up as we want. So know that it can take time to meet the person that you want, and it will take time for you to be the person that you want to be to meet the person you want. And you've got to see it as a journey, not a formula. Yeah, it's not like A plus B equals C. Okay, boom, it's going to happen now. These things take time. Number 6, and this is the last one. For God's sake, please stop the dating pity party, I call it, where you sit around with your friends and you bitch and complain about dating. Or you sit and you listen to content that bitches and complains about dating, right? And how all it does is reinforce your existing negative beliefs about dating. In fact, it sabotages your dating life. This is something I do with my clients. The first thing that I want them to do is to really look at how they look at dating, and we're going to shift that. I'm not hearing any of this like dating's broken, or women are just after money, whatever it is. You've got to stop the pity party, because it's affecting your ability and your judgment, right? When you meet people, because you're so negative, you're not really seeing the good in people, right? Or you're having these negative thoughts, so you're finding problems with them, and that's getting in the way of your ability to have enjoyable dates, an enjoyable life. It might literally be the difference between you meeting the partner you want and not meeting them. You sitting around, consuming loads of content that's making it about dating, talking to people about how shit dating is and so forth, right? It makes a huge difference. It's a subtle difference. It's these 1-2%, the things I've talked about today, that will make a big difference in your dating life, a big difference to the chance of you meeting the person you really want to meet. So I hope these were useful. I know they were useful. Share the episode. If you like the episode, put a like, put down a comment. If you're on YouTube, put a comment down below. Tell me what you liked about it. Tell me what you took away from it. Same if you're on, Spotify as well. Please give me a review, share it with someone in your life, because it makes a huge difference to grow the podcast. And the other thing I say is, if you've loved this, then if you love the content I said here, because this is just a little snippet, you're going to really love the Men's Dating Accelerator, because there's some really beautiful bits in there. There's a few bonuses tucked in there as well if you go through. And the link's down below, you can just click on it and have a look and read the page about it, right? But like I said, it's £47. It's basically cheaper than a date. Okay. That's it for me today. I say thank you and ciao, ciao.